Jude. We're going to make things better today. What's going on? What is cooling? We got the left tackle, Jude Bowry. And this guy, his film, in a way, kind of bores me. And I mean that in a very good way. When offensive linemen, you kind of want guys that's just like they get the job done. You've got guys like Caden Proctors and Spencer Fanus where they have like these outstanding, unbelievable blocks and those traits and stuff like that. But Jude Bowry, he just does the job. And it's like, yeah, this is what a solid left tackle looks like in the NFL. So I think he's going to be a solid starter in his NFL journey and in his career. I don't know if I see a top 10 tackle just because maybe he lacks the overall power profile and certain things and elements and run blocking. We'll get more into that as we break down his film. A lot of people have been telling me about Jude Bowry, and I finally got around to watching this film, so let's get right into it here. Number 71, the long-armed, really athletic, mobile tackle over here. And recovery athleticism is very good. His agility is very good. His footwork is really, really good as well. I think he has a very nice base that he plays from. He's got explosiveness, that first step quickness. Absolutely what you want to see from a left tackle and your left tackle of the future. I think his grip strength is very, very good. Now, hand technique, hand placement, strike timing, strike power, those are things he needs to work on. You see him getting popped there by Johnny Walker. I'm not talking about the liquor neither. But he has the technique, too, where he does the one hand on the outside, one hand on the inside, which is fine. I mean, it totally depends. Everybody's taught a little bit different. And whatever really works for you, it really just comes down to your coaching, what your preference is. But the big thing with Bowry, and you're going to see this here, especially versus the Mizzou, North Carolina film, the Louisville, he has a tendency to just give up his chest. His run blocking, too, I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's not the greatest. He's not the best run blocker. But you see the explosiveness out of his stance, just way too much exposure to his chest. He needs to do a better job, as I'll do a little rewind here. And he's even got a little bit of help from his left guard. But you see him. Look at his hand placement. This is not good. He's wide out here. Walker's just right down the middle. That's too easy. And his anchor, he is doing a good job getting to his top. He kind of gets tripped there, which also doesn't help. But he does a good job. And that's one thing that I really like about him is the ability to kind of get to that hop step, get to that back foot, and be able to reestablish. Great job. Even though he lost that rep, he ended up winning that rep because he did such a good job. Look at the whole recovery balance. That's another thing. He's very in pass pro. He's really got great balance. He just doesn't have the greatest. He's not the greatest in run blocking balance. Sometimes he will end up on the ground, but generally speaking, his balance and overall his agility and stuff like that, or his body flexibility, is good, especially for a left tackle with the guy's size, 6'5", 311 pounds. So there's some good run blocking. This just goes to show you he doesn't really have that dry power, right? He's not going to be somebody that blows you out of the water. But his overall mirroring ability here, it showcases that. I love his right-hand lead, too, that he does to protect the inside. You will not see him lose to the inside very much. There he falls a bit on the ground at the second level. Here's a good little pull block, and it walls him off there, keeps him going, too, down at the line of scrimmage. Now, his leverage isn't the best, and we're going to see that more pop up here as he's not creating a whole ton of movement with one-on-one blocks. There's that right-hand lead. Now, he does end up losing. This one, he gets over his toes. Loses the edge to Ashton Gelati, who Gelati is a stud, gave a lot of people problems in college football last season, a lot. And you see him initially, good solid job redirecting there, but Gelati hits him with that left hand push-pull and wins the outside track. Castellanos steps up and makes a play. Now, look at this. This showcases that balance. He gets tripped. You say to yourself, uh-oh, he gets over his toes. No, he trips right here. Most offensive linemen, they'd be on the ground right now, like Frazier, even though Frazier would get back up. Frazier is a beast, but I'm talking about Joe Frazier. Anyway, I love Joe Frazier. That's a side point because I also like Jude Bowry, and I think his balance is excellent, and it just kind of showcases some of that. Now, all these reps, they're not perfect. Here's another example of that mirroring skill that he has, second level. He gets to him. He just sometimes, too, his understanding of angles aren't the best. He doesn't really, I think, have a general feel just yet of some of where these running lanes are coming from. So he blocks them the wrong way. Here's a good rep in pass pro against Gelati. He had a great battle versus Gelati. He won some big-time reps. He lost a couple, and there he gets a little bit over his toes. Gelati's on his chest here and kind of does another push-pull to the inside. Here's one where he loses to the inside. But once again, he doesn't give up on the rep. he finds a way to get back in on this thing and at least allows Castellanos, which was a good play by Castellanos as well, to be able to get out of that, but does a good job. So I'm just really impressed with his recovery balance and overall ability there to redirect, change directions for a guy his size. I think is really, really impressive and definitely an athletic mover. Not the most, he's not as athletic as Spencer Fanu or not. There it goes, showing that lack of power really profile. He doesn't have a whole ton of torque. Here's another one where he just gives that left arm here, that long arm, even though he's got the length battle. And that's why I'm saying he's got to do a better job of getting these guys off of him. Needs to hit him with a chop, get some way to counter. Got to better on his strike timing. And then he ends up losing that to the inside. Still does a decent job. We'll see it from the back end. See that long arm here from this North Carolina rusher. So those are just some things I definitely have seen throughout his film that he's got to get better at. They're not great. Little reach block there. See him here in a little pass protection set on number 12 in North Carolina. Loses the outside track, but ultimately it wasn't the worst rep I've ever seen or nothing like that. He doesn't lose the inside at least. So I find that with him, it's like he would rather you win the outside track than beat him to the inside. He's very conservative. And we're going to see that versus some of these spin moves too here in a bit, especially versus North Carolina. Some rushers try to hit him with some spins. Now here was a really good combo up to the second level. Let's go back to this one here because he has some good run blocks too, but he works well with his left guard here. Gives him a little bit of help right there. Boom. And then comes up to this linebacker. Opens a nice lane there for the running back. Here's a good little view once again on this rusher, number 7, who was giving him fits earlier. Does it again with this first. This is a two-hand bull rush is what he's going to do. Right on the chest plate. Once again, the strike timing, it's not there. He's a little bit late to the punch. See him? He's got him beat by a monster. See, look at this. He's already there, and then Bowry's just firing his hands. He's just controlling him there with push-pull all over the place. So that is something he has to get better at with his timing, with his counters. You're going to get beat, even with his length. Like, that's the thing. Here he is, once again, kind of a little bit of a long arm from this rusher. And he's just getting walked back into the pocket, opens up, and creates a lane for that pass rusher. Now, as I mentioned earlier, with the spin move, he does a good job with his patience because he doesn't really lose the inside track. So, look at that. Nice job by Bowry versus that spin move. Excellent. He said, nope, you're not so fast, my friend. That's textbook technique right there for a spin move. So the Will McDonalds of the world may not do so well against Bowry. I'll say that. Good little second level block right there. One of my favorite of the entirety of the film. Here he is doing a good job versus Michigan State defender. This is the first game, 2024's tape. You'll be able to notice the difference. Michigan State 2025 was wearing the white helmets. Good job walling off, create this outside lane here. This one, just not a lot of power. And that goes back to a little bit of maybe, low man wins here too. And lack of keeping the feet moving. More in this case scenario, he just did not keep his feet moving. He's kind of like static here. I want to see you drive that thing forward and push this guy. At least try to get him to the ground. I get it. He's got leverage on you, but that's something you need to keep your feet moving. Great pass protection rep there. Kind of just stonewalls him with his grip strength. And you see him. He's got good grip strength. That's not his issue. It really isn't. It's just when you allow dudes right into your chest plate too easy and too often, it's going to be a problem. Now, this is 2025 Michigan State tape. So this is going to be, you're seeing him as an improved player now, right? He's had an off season to be able to get more power, get more overall development with his tools and stuff like that. And I have seen improvement from Bowry this season. And it's not perfect. He loses the outside track here. This is mainly a case where I would say he kind of gets a little bit too far forward leaning, trying to hit that punch, misses, loses the outside track. It happens with any tackle. I don't think that's an athletic problem or anything like that. I think it's just a missed timing, something that happens. Pretty decent rep there. A little sloppy, but you're going to have sloppy reps. He loses the inside beat here. This is a good pass rush by this edge rusher from Michigan State, who he's going to get off with some good explosiveness. So does Bowry, though. And you see him getting him off balance because of his strength on the inside. Once again, like, you do not want to be this close to this defensive lineman. Ideally, you want to keep your distance. And that's why I say, like, you have length, Bowry. Use your length. And he just doesn't always use that to the best of his ability and ends up losing on the inside there, a little swim. Again, a little long arm. Kind of got him rocking back. But somehow, he is still staying on balance. That's just a testament how good he is with that, because a lot of offensive linemen would be knocked down in this case scenario. he can stay up, which is pretty impressive still to be up, but he loses that rep pretty clearly. Here he is, second level, working a little pop screen and good wall off block there. Good job getting to the second level. Here's some hand technique that I've been looking for all game long. A little snatch trap action he's going for. Not a perfect one, but at least he gives it a shot versus defensive lineman. You see that right arm going down, snatch trap. Need to see more of that. That's really what I want to see. Does get pushed back into the pocket here. So it's just a reoccurring theme. His anchor is not the best. It needs to get stronger, needs to get better. A little hand fighting there. Solid rep. It's just hand fighting. See him again. That's better. That's more of the counter stuff. This is for Stanford now. I can deal with some of this stuff, right? Like, it's not perfect, but at least he's coming back for counters. He's trying things. He's trying to get this number 14 rusher off of his chest, and at least it's something better while maintaining a good wide base. His feet don't get close very often, which is a big pro, and that allows him to not always lose the power. And I do think he's got better with his leverage this offseason. Now, here was his one full start penalty that I saw. I saw one holding penalty. I didn't include it because I didn't think it was his fault. I really did not. I thought it was a really bad call, so I didn't include that. Let's go ahead and recap up the grade here and the rankings, pass protection, run blocking, and athletic scores. First up, let me start off with his athleticism here because I think that is a clear-cut strength to his game. He's an above-average athlete. Anything in a B- or above, that to me signals he is an above average at something. Just kind of give a little background on these trades. If you're an A, I think that's something you really thrive in and it's something you're really good at. And with his first step explosiveness, I think he's got plenty of it. And certainly not going to be able, like, I think he can hang with some of the faster pass rushers in college football and when he goes in the NFL. His slide quickness is very good as well. Just like overall, his athleticism, his redirecting ability, very impressive, especially at his size. 6'5", 311 pounds is what is listed at. And his overall length, it's got to be in that 34-inch department, in my opinion. If my guess, maybe 34.25. Let's go ahead. We'll see how close that is come combine time. But we're going to make a little fun guess out here. Let's go on to the things that I look at with the run blocking now, and these are maybe more of the weaknesses in his game. And you see there's not an above average trade here. I don't really see him as a plus run blocker. Maybe it's something he gets better at and he hones his technique, works on his leverage a little bit more of his torque and strength and all those sort of things. Because right now I don't really see a lot that I'm like super hyped up about when it comes to his run blocking. It's not horrific, all right? He's not the worst run blocker I've ever seen. So he's kind of like average to below average, but I would put him a little bit more towards the below average category when it comes to a lot of these things, such as punishing ability and overall drive power. I don't really see him driving dudes off the wall a ton. I think he probably would be better in a zone blocking style of scheme because of his athleticism and allowing him to at least just utilize his angles. And if, when he gets better at that sort of thing, at least that would be something you can hang your hat on with him. But in terms of pure one-on-one power profile, it does not have that to his game. And that's fine. Everybody, a little bit different with your offensive alignment and stuff like that and what you're looking for. The athleticism is going to set him apart. The pass blocking now, which is a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of some things. There's some things that are really, really good. And I think they're going to serve him very, very well and give him a good floor. And then there's some things that I definitely want to see him improve upon to get to that next level. And especially if we're going to talk about him being an elite pass protector at the next level, things like strike timing, accuracy, power, those are big things that I think he needs to really hone his skills at. He's going to have to get stronger too. His anchor profile right now is just not the greatest. He does get knocked back. A lot of it is technique based. And if he improves his technique, that's going to help out alone because he's strong. Like, he definitely has strength. So I don't think he's like a D anchor or nothing, but I do think he doesn't have an above average anchor. It's more below average for sure, in my view. But his grip strength is very good. And that's why I'm saying he's strong. Like, he's got some power in his hands and he's got those long arms. So he can take and latch on and he'll hold on to you and not in a holding way either. And I mean, his hand placement's fine. Like, I'm not super worried about his actual placement. It's more about his technique, his accuracy with his punch, and his timing that I have issues with, rather than his overall like punch accuracy or his punch placement. His placement is fine, as I mentioned before. His technique, it can be a little bit different. Some people go inside completely with both hands. Some people it's one side in and the other side on the out. It really just depends. As long as you're not grabby, and I don't see him as a grabby offensive tackle. I don't see him as a penalty issue either. But his footwork is impressive. I think his balance is super impressive. And going along with his footwork and balance, like his mirroring skills are really, really good. I didn't see any issues with stunts and blitzes either. So, I mean, I rated it as a B, kind of right in the mid. He's still above average just because I didn't really see a whole ton of stunts and blitzes. But when I did, I thought he did a good job working with his left guard and overall was very, very pleased with that film. He is a guy, though, I feel very, very confident about as somebody like you can get on day 2 right now and say to yourself, we are going to get a quality starter. I don't know if he's going to be elite. That's going to come down to his development, his coaching, and things like that, especially if he can get a little bit better in the run blocking department and honed in on those technique issues in pass pro. But if he can do that, you're getting yourself a very, very good left tackle. And I do think his floor is pretty dang high because of the traits he has right now, such as his footwork, such as his balance, his athleticism, and his grip strength. Those combination of things are going to serve you well. If you can just improve some of those other things, which we see in the league, those are things you can improve. Now, the power profile, I do think could be his biggest testament that he's going to have to really work on as he gets to the next level. But I did think he got a little bit more powerful this year in the tape that I've limited film, albeit versus Michigan State and also Stanford weren't the most challenging opponents. So I'll keep an eye out on him as the season goes along. I'm really intrigued, though. Really do like him. I think he does have that high floor and certainly a player that I feel like is on an NFL roster. I like him more than Ozzie Trapillo coming out of last year from the right tackle from Boston College. I would definitely take Bowry over Ozzie Trapillo. So that's kind of my view on it with Jude. Hey, Jude Bowry. And let me know what you think. Agree or disagree. I hope you guys have a really good day.